By 1 p.m, the bulk of the Austrian army is in headlong retreat, leaving Lusignan's first column in an awkward position.
Well, Austrians, I think they were better at music than at war, which is respectable.
Until sometime later, right?
I mean, it was not Austrians. Like,
he was Austrian.
Well, but he was like, I can do this with you guys.
Maybe that's true.
I need the Germans.
That's true.
Like, I would like to be world leader, but I look at your CV and it's not great. It's not great.
I'm going to consider other options.
Hello, guys.
Hello, everyone.
I am Valdemar.
Hello, Veronica.
And this is Iskra.
And this is Shogun. It was Shogun.
It was Shogun. Iskra is a female. It's a Polish name for a spark, right?
For a spark, yeah.
And Shogun is, Shogun because of James Clavell book.
Yeah, and he also matched his the personality to his name within 5 seconds.
But it's only in Polish, I think.
Oh, is it?
You don't say in English.
No, Shogun is also yes.
But you don't mean like someone who misbehaves.
Oh yeah, maybe not. Maybe
you
not.
won't call him Shogun because in Poland we sometimes call
someone who misbehaves
Shogun. Like in a funny way, he misbehaves, but like in a
it was like a bit of a heartbreaker.
Yeah. So they might be on the camera sometimes because they are camera shy for a moment, but they may stumble upon here sometimes. Now we have 2 kittens.
Yeah, they are incredible. We don't usually lift them, so I think they were a little bit shy, but they are just the most incredible kittens we've ever seen. We were thinking that they would need so much space when they come to our house that we are not going to be able to pet them for a week or 2. We just sat next to them on the floor and we were trying not to move, and then within, 15 minutes they were all over us, and it's been a few days and they are all over us.
And now they are our other kittens.
Yes.
So they are also your kittens. You can say hello to them. We just told them that we have 7,000 subscribers, so they will be famous kittens, and that we are watching Napoleon right now, and we are actually finishing the Napoleon in Italy miniseries.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited for this episode.
Yeah, finally,
By the way, if you guys, just a small announcement, if you see anything flickering on the green screen, it might be because of the cats. So it may happen that something is moving there, and it's because of the cats.
But don't worry, we will see how it looks, but I think it won't be a problem. We cannot close the door, because if you would close the door, then you would hear all the meow, meow, meow.
Yeah.
We wanted to do the introduction like from the Lion King, with the
but it was copyrighted. So.
Yes, I think actually so well that Disney found it copyright.
No, that's not the case, but yes.
All right, guys. Now to the serious business. Napoleon in Italy. Finally, we are finishing his series in Italy. I think it will end in success. Because I
have a feeling that's what is going to happen too. Yeah.
That's what we learned, right? I mean, I learned, but you also know it, right? That he was the only general from France.
You learned from Oversimplified, right?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. He was the only general from France that succeeded in the first war of the First Coalition. So that I already know. I saw what our other episodes are waiting for us, and the next one is some kind of a 3D animation with
the Nelson's battle.
Nelson's battles, yeah. So Nelson is an admiral from the United Kingdom, England. I don't know if it was the United Kingdom back then or just England.
I don't know. I think United Kingdom.
I'm not sure, but let us know if this is something we should watch too. I expect so, because it's pretty popular, and also it just basing on the title, it sounds interesting. 3D animated battle,
and they are already doing such a good job, so I think 3D could be even better.
Yeah, it's being uploaded today. I mean, when you are watching this, so it's been 8 days since our last Napoleon video. So a little late, but just 1 day.
But not much.
So not so much. You ready?
I am ready. I'm more than ready. A lot of people said, because I asked them, because a lot of people said that the last one was the hype episode, but I asked and they, in the comments, I talked a little bit to people and they said it's not the case and it's just that this is one of the best episodes early on, but that there are many episodes to look forward to in the future.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said that this is actually their favorite episode as well. So I think we're in for another treat.
Let's see.
TV PMF Productions collaboration. In 1796, at the height of the French Revolutionary Wars, a young French general took charge of a ragged, demoralized army in northern Italy. It was his first command. Many expected him to fail. Instead, in just 1 month, he won his first brilliant campaign.
So it was all happening.
With astonishing self-confidence.
So it was all happening in just 1 month.
Energy,
all those 5 episodes, including this one. I felt longer, I must say.
No, I felt like it was longer.
The war in Europe.
I felt like last episode was almost
from a grateful republic.
Oh, maybe they mean the siege of Toulouse.
Yeah, maybe.
Toulon.
Yeah.
This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte's first campaign.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the dawn of a new age.
Dum, 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 dum.
January 1797. A new year, but familiar problems for 27-year-old General Bonaparte.
He's younger than us.
Waging war against the Austrians in northern Italy. He has the great fortress city of Mantua under siege. And after a narrow victory at Arcole, he's once again driven back the Austrian armies, trying to march to its aid. But the French army of Italy is in a ragged state. Troops have not been paid for weeks. Their uniforms are disintegrating.
Yeah, and they were at the swamps
Their
for a long time.
shoes are broken.
Remember?
And above all, they're hungry.
Do you think the French government will send someone to help him, or he will win this whole campaign with the same soldiers, without any supplies, without any reinforcements?
I think they're gonna send someone to help him.
I think that it might be the other way around. I think that he will win just with the forces he has now.
You think so?
And that will make it, this greater.
Because I feel like they already know the things that he's doing, and I feel like they... I don't know.
Yeah, but they already knew before.
Yeah, but he did write them a letter and they didn't send any reinforcements.
I think more than one.
Right. Well, we'll see.
One of Napoleon's major concerns is the wretched state of medical care for his men. The hospitals lack everything. Our wounded are lying on the floors and in the most horrible state of destitution. It's not just a question of saving lives and getting wounded men back to their units.
It's about morale too, I think,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
Medical care affects morale. As troops going into combat want to know that if the worst happens, they'll be looked after.
Not that you'll get grazed by a bullet and that's it because you'll die of gangrene, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Conditions are much worse for the Austrian garrison of
Even
Mantua,
worse.
commanded by Field Marshal Wurmser.
Poor guy is sitting there the whole episodes.
In 4 months
Yeah,
of
there's so much
siege,
happening. He's just
9,000
cooped
soldiers
up
have died
with
from
people
disease,
dying and
wounds, or the effects of malnutrition. Survivors live off horse meat, civilians off rats and dogs.
Sorry guys to pause right away, we'll stop the frequency soon. But I'm just curious, maybe you can let me know in the comments, or maybe you know, what do they do with the bodies in such circumstance? Because I understand they may have some burial grounds, but are they within the walls? And also I think they would not be suited to contain so many dead bodies in such a short time. So do they just dig out a pit and put the bodies there? Do they throw them over the walls? What do they do with the bodies?
I think it depends on when you ask this question. Because in more recent times, I think they will just bury them. With
Maybe they burn them.
With the, how do you call this white chemical?
Oh yeah, with the
On the sea. Calcium.
Calcium, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the calcium will do the job.
I don't know that
But
they
I
had
think
calcium.
in older times...
maybe they burned them now that
they
I think
burned
about
them.
it. Yeah, because it's not like they're hiding and they need to... But then...
Yeah, I think there is no downside to burning
Yeah,
them.
probably they burn them.
You will have space. It's not like it's just a city,
But it must not smell very nice in the walls. I mean, for a variety of reasons.
I think better than just letting them rot on an air.
Even these miserable rations will run out by the 27th of January, just a few weeks away. The clock is ticking. The Austrians must relieve Mantua by that date, or lose the city. And with it, the war in Italy.
Oh, so that's good for Napoleon, because he knows now where they will attack and when. So he can prepare.
He's at an advantage because he can choose the time, right? He received 7,000 reinforcements.
Yes, okay.
But that's a bit of an offense, to be honest.
7,000 reinforcements, prepares to meet Alvinci's advance. He will not only be outnumbered, he doesn't know where his enemy will strike.
So he won't know. He cannot wait at the city.
Napoleon must hold one division back to cover Wormser's garrison.
Maybe not, because then they will know exactly where he is.
By General Serrurier, recovered from his long illness. Augereau's division watches the Adige, while Massena guards Verona. The Northern Division has a new commander. Napoleon has sacked Vaubois for his poor performance and put in his place General Barthélemy Joubert.
He has a nicer
He is a hard-working, brave, and exceptionally modest commander, and like Napoleon, just 27 years old.
You young people achieving
General
things.
Ray is in reserve south of Lake
Garda. It was other times. Who knows what we will be able to do 200 years ago.
VICI has received 14,000 reinforcements and orders to relieve Mantua as soon as possible. He is eager to march, but heavy snow and the late arrival of equipment and supplies delays his advance until the 7th of January.
Can you imagine hungry, exhausted, and snowing?
The first columns on the move are Provera and Berlich. But their offensive is merely a diversion intended to draw Napoleon's attention away from the main threat, which will be coming down the Adige Valley.
Again, the same plan?
Alvinci has divided this force into 6 columns. Their mission
I guess they
is
don't
to
have that
envelop
many
and destroy
terrain
Joubert's
places to
division
choose from.
at Rivoli and clear the path to Mantua.
Okay.
But Rivoli is a strong defensive position. They must hit it hard and fast before the French can respond. Napoleon, assuming any Austrian advance is still weeks away, has travelled to the Papal States with a column of troops commanded by Colonel Lannes.
Not a good time to meet the Pope.
They intend to put a little pressure on the Pope, who continues to stir opposition
They want more
to France.
power, reinforcements.
However, as soon as he receives reports of enemy movement, Napoleon races back to his headquarters at Rovabella. By now, Alvinci's forces have also begun to advance, but serious planning failures quickly emerge.
By the way, do you know who established Vatican City? Because here you see it's the 19th century. No, sorry, it's still 18th century, but it's still called Papal States.
Was it not Napoleon as well?
No, later.
It was in Napoleonic times, right?
No, later.
Let me think. Before the First World War?
Later.
In the Second World War?
Before that. So it kind of narrows it down.
With Germany, or?
No, where is Vatican?
In Italy.
So who was running Italy? Mussolini, yes.
Because he wanted to separate the state and the religion?
It was kind of
he wanted to then in their favor, so he gave them the city.
Everything.
Okay.
Like mix of everything. But basically the Vatican City Church still owes to Mussolini. So
the digression, but so then that's the time that the Vatican City was established, but the split was still in the times of the Constantinople, so that was kind of when they had the first split, and that's when they moved to Italy, right?
No. The Papal States are existing even now, but they are bigger.
Okay.
It's much bigger area than Vatican City nowadays.
Because I don't know why, but I thought that
it just was not a country like it is with Vatican.
Okay. Because one thing is the states turning into Italy, and another thing is the establishment of the
Because
Vatican.
here you see that Italy is not a whole country; it's just a collection of different states, similar to what Germany was around the same time, maybe a bit later. But Mussolini, I mean, not Mussolini in Italy, but he established Vatican City as a separate country.
Okay. Thank you.
Lusignan's first column, on the right flank of the advance, has orders to cross the slopes of Monte Baldo and attack Joubert from the rear. It's soon clear that these orders are wildly optimistic, dreamed up by staff officers who'd not seen the terrain. The peak of Monte Baldo is more than 7,000 feet high.
The horses in there.
Its slopes are covered in deep snow and ice. The paths are treacherous, even more so after dark, and there is no firewood for making camp. Only by taking a wide detour can Lusignan make any progress at all, whilst losing 200 men to exhaustion and exposure.
That was also Hannibal's plan, to cross the Alps to attack Italy from
Meanwhile,
Alps.
the second
No one
and
thought it's
third
possible
Austrian
until
columns
Hannibal did it.
reach the French outpost at Ferrara. An initial attack is repulsed. And following their orders, they wait for Lusignan's column to
liked
appear
eating people,
before
but he
launching
was
a
also a
second
great
attack.
general.
However, Lusignan's column is not yet in sight. Alvinci's plan relies on swift, bold action. But just 48 hours in, it's falling apart.
That must be so discouraging to the troops. It's already, everything is horrible.
The Austrians never struck me in this series as the competent ones.
They don't seem to be learning from the mistakes, which I think is the worst part, because Napoleon learns from what went wrong.
Yeah.
At Roverbella, Napoleon ponders the incoming reports. He knows that Joubert's forward outpost is under attack at Ferrara, that Massena has repulsed an Austrian attack on Verona, and Augereau faces a sizable Austrian force near Legnago, poised to cross the Adige.
So he has to decide.
Is Alvinci using the same tactics as before, making his attack from the east? Then, a second report arrives from Joubert. His scouts have detected an enemy column marching around his flank. He has no doubt that he faces a major Austrian attack and has begun withdrawing his forces to Rivoli. The report I have given you is exact, he tells his chief. Be assured, the enemy will make every effort to throw me onto the blockade of Mantua.
So he is a competent one.
Yeah.
Nice.
The enemy's plan has
Napoleon
been
has some
unmasked,
support.
Napoleon announces, and issues a flurry of orders. Massena is to march immediately to reinforce Joubert. Augereau is to send him cavalry and guns, while the rest of his division keeps watch on Provera. Ray is to move up to Castelnuovo. Serrurier is to be on high alert for an attempted breakout by the Mantua garrison. While Joubert, the youngest and least experienced of Napoleon's divisional commanders, is instructed to hold Rivoli at any cost, and assured that help is on the way.
I assume that soldiers loves those kind of requests, orders. Hold it for every price. Like, yay!
You're not important, right?
After giving the Austrians a bloody nose at Ferrara, Joubert has extricated his troops overnight and taken up a defensive position around Rivoli. Napoleon arrives around midnight and immediately sets out with Joubert to inspect the enemy's positions.
Yeah, I wonder how much it changed that this Joubert guy was there? Because it seems like kind of a breath of fresh air for Napoleon as well, because the impression that I get so far is kind of Napoleon is really alone.
I mean,
in his brain power, not really, but...
It wasn't that bad, but that's right. There was not another figure that kind of stood out.
Yeah,
I mean, there was this one guy, and they mentioned that because of...
The one that was wounded and that led the band to battle, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because of his effort, Napoleon always supported him later in life.
Yeah.
When he kind of fell off grace, but because of what he did in the campaign in Italy, Napoleon always respected him.
Yeah, I think they're all great generals, but just that this guy is young. He's probably very eager to prove himself, and I think that's probably comes at a really good time when I know Napoleon is the god of fight, but he's been there for a very long time, so he must be weary and exhausted, and even thinking about strategies every single day for such a long time in terrible conditions. Your men are dying, then I think it's a good.
I think he was in his element, to be honest.
You think? You think so?
I mean, I cannot tell, I was not there, but I would think that you don't become one of the greatest generals in history if you are tired after like a couple of months of campaign.
Okay. No, I do wonder, especially since it's, he's still quite young. He is experienced at this point, but not that experienced. And especially when you have a lot of victories already and you really believe in yourself, but then it kind of starts falling apart, I think it must be difficult.
Yeah, but also here in Italy, there was not really such a moment of, losing hope. Mm-hmm. He suffered one defeat, but there was no point in which, he suffered some tremendous casualties and the situation was hopeless. Most of the time he's winning. He's doing quite well, despite the fact that his forces are outnumbered.
Fair enough.
So I think it's
that must be motivating as well, and also because he's not getting reinforcements, but he's still showing them that he's...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think it also works for the soldiers, They see how badass they are, being outnumbered, outflanked, and still managing to do so much harm to the enemy.
The weather had cleared and the moonlight was superb. I climbed the different heights and observed the lines of enemy fires. They filled the country between the Adige and Lake Garda, and the atmosphere was ablaze with them. One could easily distinguish 5 camps, each composed of a column. Until reinforcements arrive, Napoleon has just Joubert's division, 10,000 men, to hold off 24,000 Austrians. But VICI will help to even the odds by ordering Lusignan's first column to attempt a wide outflanking march to cut off the French line of retreat.
Thank you for that.
Napoleon decides the main road to Rivoli, which passes through a steep defile known as the Pontari, can be held by a single regiment supported by entrenched cannon. This leaves more manageable odds of 9,000 against 12,000 in the centre. But Napoleon wants to push out his defensive line to hold the slopes that mark the edge of the Rivoli plateau. At 4 a.m, General Vial's light infantry brigade advances through the darkness. They drive back the Austrian outposts and take the San Marco chapel.
Okay.
I must say that I feel like this is the end of this campaign. The battle at night, it kind of reminds me of the Lord of the Rings, the second part, the big climax.
No, me too.
And the dark filter on the screen kind of helps me imagine that this is a night.
This is night, and you can imagine like the winter and everything.
Yeah.
And if it was a movie, then it would be a very great cinematic device that they've changed the season, so we are now in a different time.
And
we're not in
those
heat
fires,
anymore.
You don't see the enemy, you just see the fires, and the fire is everywhere.
I think it's good because we both have quite vivid imagination, but I can see it, when I see the bank of the river and I see them sitting there with the fires and, and trying to hold it.
Followed on their left by the rest of Joubert's division. But the French push too far. Skirmishes break out along the line with heavy fighting on the heights of San Marco. Napoleon had not wanted to start the battle so early, but the combat escalates. At dawn, the Austrians attack the plateau in force. The French 85th Demi Brigade is outflanked and routed by Liptay's second column.
Ooh.
The 29th Light, on its right, is forced to retreat, and it looks like the French line is crumbling. But the 14th, on their right, fights tenaciously. It's an intense infantry battle across broken ground, vineyards and walled gardens, with sudden charges, hurried withdrawals, and countercharges. When the Austrians overrun a French battery, an officer demands, "14th, will you let them take your guns?" His troops mount a ferocious charge that routs the Austrians and reclaims the battery.
How important is morale in battle, right? Especially in
By
those
9
times.
a.m., Massena's troops have begun to arrive. They take up position on Joubert's left. The buckled French line is stabilized.
Okay.
But
So, excuse me, so if reinforcements already arrived, so what is the other half of Austrians doing? Like, they are still marching? Great plan. Great plan.
What are they? They are up north,
Because
right?
they took the detour, right?
Yeah.
Around. But they were supposed to arrive just in time to cut off the reinforcements. But if the reinforcements is already here, then I think the detour was much longer.
Well, but
They are still marching, singing songs.
I mean, it's very easy to say from this perspective, but at the same time, what a ridiculous idea. If there's hills around with ice and snow, how could they possibly get there fast?
I mean, maybe fast enough, because the rest was the rest of France's army was quite far. Mm-hmm. But still, it's you have 2-1 over 2-1 advantage.
Yeah. And you leave it just for the tactic? I'm not...
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if your men are sickly and exhausted, you will lose some men on the way, probably. Because some of them will slip and fall. Some of them will, get their feet they will not be able to walk anymore. What's the word? Like defrosted? Not defrosted, the other way around. Frozen. Yeah, so they can... If they don't have good shoes or anything.
It's kind of like in chess, if you would have material advantage of 9 points, and yet you are I'm gonna sacrifice 3 pieces for this tactical maneuver.
I'm probably entirely wrong, so you guys can correct me because you're all our masters on the strategy in this period of history. But this gives me the impression they kind of know that Napoleon is an excellent strategist. So they're like, okay, we have to fight him at his level. Yeah. There's this strategy. He also did this to them, let's remember, a couple of times that he cut them off. So they're like, it's kind of like in chess. You're playing a very good chess player and you have advantage on the chessboard, but you think, no, it's not possible that I'm going to win. I have to employ the tactics against this guy. That's kind of how it feels.
And they overcomplicated the situation. Yeah, that's what I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm
No, me neither. I'm just... We're guessing at this point.
It seems like it.
Oh, I woke up the cat. Sorry.
The French have only faced half of VINCI's 6 columns. One by one, the others now join the action.
They're still running there.
Vukasovic's 6th column is on the far side of the Adige River. But its guns cause havoc among French troops holding the Pontari.
So they are serving
Under this covering fire, Royce's 5th column charges up the narrow road and in fierce fighting storms the French entrenchments. This advance threatens the entire French right wing with encirclement, and a retreat begins. Moments later, gunfire to the southwest reveals Lusignan's 1st column has reached Affy, poised to cut off their escape.
Oh, okay.
The French situation is desperate. They are outnumbered, surrounded, and under heavy attack.
And now Napoleon comes in.
Napoleon's staff look anxiously to their commander, wondering what miracle can save the army now.
The miracle is called Napoleon.
Come on, hit the quote. Hit the quote.
He's preparing to be quoted.
Sensing victory, General Vinci and his staff ride forward to urge his infantry on. Napoleon remains calm.
Why have I not
knows
seen this in the
Alvinzi's
movie?
center columns are near exhaustion, and that they have no cavalry and little artillery support. He identifies Royce's column as the most immediate threat, and orders Joubert to send every man and gun he can spare for a counterattack. General Leclerc and a 21-year-old Captain Lassalle then charge with the entire French cavalry, just a few hundred horsemen.
Ooh.
Under this onslaught, the lead Austrian troops are driven back into the gorge. Here, they collide with the rest of the column coming up. Cavalry and infantry jammed together, some pushing forward, others trying to escape.
Ooh. Chaos.
Joubert's men pour fire down on them from the overlooking ridge. The final straw is the devastating explosion of an ammunition wagon.
We're using the diverse tactics here.
I think it could be by accident.
Still.
Austrian morale breaks. The survivors flood back down the road to safety. Napoleon now turns his full attention to the center, where the exhausted Austrian columns have become spread out and disordered. The sudden appearance of French cavalry, supported by infantry and guns, sparks panic and a mass rout. Alvinzi, who must have thought himself on the cusp of victory moments before, must join in an undignified race to the rear, spreading further alarm among his men. By 1 p.m., the bulk of the Austrian army is in headlong retreat, leaving Lusignan's first column in an awkward position.
Guys, come on!
Completely isolated, he begins a fighting withdrawal. But the arrival of General Rey's brigade in his rear triggers a rout.
So the main forces are not even here, I mean from the French, but he already escaped. The reinforcement that he was supposed to cut off, they arrived and he was like, oh, let's run away.
What is going on there?
Well, Austrians, I think they were better at music than at war, which is respectable.
Until sometime later, right?
I mean, it was not Austrians. Like
he was Austrian.
Well, but he was like, I can do this with you guys.
Maybe that's true.
I need the Germans.
That's true.
Like, I would like to be world leader, but I look at your CV and it's not great. It's not great.
I'm going to consider other options.
I prefer Italy. I prefer Italy. They are not the best too, but...
Half of his 4,000 men escape.
How did he know, Napoleon?
Through tenacity,
that they will
courage, and good fortune,
He's Napoleon.
the army of Italy has turned a grim situation into an astonishing triumph. French casualties are modest.
Modest.
Austrian losses are devastating.
Okay.
Wow.
Over the next few
12,000.
days, 5,000 more Austrians are captured as they struggle back through the mountain passes. Napoleon will not be there to see it. He's received news that Provera has crossed the Adige and is marching on Mantua. It is a chance for him to strike one more blow against the enemy and to seal the fate of Mantua.
I have a small question because I think you guys do like the questions, so I'm using your knowledge. I'm also wondering right now, what was the treatment of prisoners of war at that time? Just a small question, but for a very broad answer, because we didn't have any international treaties in place at that time. I suppose it was just the religion that guided it and the morals of the people. But
I think it was better than in 20th century, definitely.
I wonder, was it?
Oh yes, I mean depends where.
Yeah,
but
you don't really need the advanced technology to be horrible to people, right?
Yeah, but I don't think at this time it was that common to do that.
Okay, I'm just curious.
like the sole reason why the first war of the first coalition happened was because the other kings were worried about what happened in France, and they were like, okay, I want to keep my head on my shoulders, so we will attack France, so we will not see this happening in our countries. So I think they were trying to hold some standards in their countries, just for the security. So they were not trying to brutalize people. They were not trying to, make people fall into extremisms.
Okay, so you're saying like the revolution and the public beheadings and public executions, they are one thing, but we are trying to show that
But the public
not...
executions were happening in France.
Okay. So they are separating
where there were no
that.
king.
Okay.
But still, I think like you don't want to start this because there is no end to that. If you will start killing your prisoners of war, then what you achieve is that they will fight much harder against
and
you because they will be afraid.
Later, right?
They will be afraid to be captured. You will receive no mercy, and you can always exchange prisoners. So I think this is what lost cause for the Germans in the Second World War. How violent they were to Russians, killing everyone, sparing no one, children, women, and that kind of people were not fans of the communist regime. But when they were to choose between this evil and Nazism evil, they were like, okay, I'm a Russian patriot.
If everyone you're trying to capture uses grenades to blow themselves up because they don't want to be captured by you because it's worse than dying, then... Yeah. True. Okay, let's go on. Thank you.
Vous êtes vraiment l'enfant de la victoire. No, I don't know how you say
Joubert in command at Rivoli, with orders to renew the attack at dawn. Napoleon races south with Massena's division. Provera has no clue of the disaster that's engulfed Alvinci's army, nor that the wolves now gather for him.
They
He
need Leonidas
pushes on
to
to
fight the wolves.
Mantua, shadowed by Augereau, who snaps up his rear guard. 2,000 men taken prisoner. With just 7,000 left, Provera's only hope is to break through the French siege lines. First, he tries to attack San Giorgio. Formidable French defences and a powerful cannonade stop him cold. The next day, he launches a coordinated attack with Wurmser against French forces at La Favorita.
Yeah, but Napoleon arrived, so...
But Napoleon has now arrived with Massena's division from the north.
That's over. That's over for the Austrians, right?
Wurmser's weak, starving men are forced back into the citadel, while a determined charge by the 57th Demi Brigade smashes into Provera's flank. With Augereau approaching from the east, Provera faces impossible odds and surrenders with his entire force.
Probably a wise move.
Yeah, but still, that's what you expect in a war when you don't kill the prisoners of war. And you...
Wurmser's last hope of rescue has been
saves
crushed.
people.
He puts off the inevitable for 2 agonizing weeks, until, with all food exhausted, he finally accepts terms for Mantua's surrender on the 2nd of February. He and an escort will return to Austria. His 16,000 remaining troops become prisoners. Austrian losses in the campaign reach a staggering 44,000 men.
But that is quite a thing from the perspective of a soldier. Imagine that you are a soldier, you are serving because you were ordered to. You had an order to come in Italy to fight against French people. You never met any French people before, and you are fighting for such a long time. You were starving, and then the man who commanded you to come here, he goes back home, and you are here to stay and to be a prisoner.
It's ridiculous.
You must be like, what? What about him?
Yeah. Like he is responsible, right?
Yeah. Maybe we go home and he will stay here.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Amazon was accused of fraud and Jeff Bezos was invited to a mansion and every single worker went to prison.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Basically.
It sounds bizarre, but it's exactly what it is.
After 8 months, the siege of Mantua is over. A victory that will soon be celebrated on the streets of Paris. But it is General Serrurier, not Napoleon, who takes the formal Austrian surrender. His commander-in-chief has already departed to take on his next opponent, the Pope.
No time to waste.
And then the god himself.
Thank you on behalf of the small number of objects in Turin.
From Rome, Pope Pius VI has once more been agitating against the French. And so Napoleon marches south with 9,000 men to explain the new realities of power.
Explain the new realities.
At Faenza, General Victor's division sweeps aside papal forces, and Ancona is taken without a fight. The subsequent Treaty of Tolentino forces the Pope to give up Romagna, as well as 30 million francs and 100 works of art.
But you see that the papal states are not even in Rome.
Yeah.
You see, it's a totally different region.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Italy that well, so I don't know what region it is, what cities under.
It's more north than Rome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what religion was Napoleon? He was Catholic, right?
I think Catholic. Also, he was kind of from Italy. I mean, kind of, because he's from Corsica. So it's French, but there is a lot of Italian influence.
But was he religious? Do you remember from the movie? I feel like it was touched upon.
I think that the whole France, not the whole France, but in the time of Revolution, there was this Church of Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
There was this new kind of fashion for atheism, but it was only happening in big cities. That's why there was not an agreement in France, because the more rural territories, they were more in favor of church, and in Paris they were fighting against the church.
Yeah, against any kind of authority.
Robespierre, the Jacobins.
Oh, true. It's that time. It's the time of the how do we call it in Polish? In Polish, we call it a glass and an eye time. You know, I don't know if there's a similar saying in.
I mean, I don't know, but this is the period when the Robespierre was ruling was called the Reign of Terror.
Yeah, that one as well. Yeah, but I mean the
Because
revolution.
he was cutting head of everyone. Like.
Okay, let's go on.
Napoleon's victories persuade the Directory to back him in force.
Oh, no.
French armies stuck on the Rhine
He's a good bet now.
to send him reinforcements. Their 34-year-old commander, another rising star of the French army, is congratulated on his brilliant winter crossing of the Alps. His name is General Jean Bernadotte.
So I think he will return later.
On the 10th of March, with 70,000 confident, seasoned troops under his command, Napoleon goes on the offensive. He sends Joubert to invade the Tyrol, Massena to advance up the Piave Valley, while he leads the bulk of the army on the most direct road to Vienna. The enemy is scattered and demoralized. Even the appointment of a new commander, the Emperor's own brother, Archduke Charles, fails to restore morale.
He's just grinding them to death at this
Charles is regarded
point.
as a military prodigy. He's 2 years younger than Napoleon and has defeated the armies of both General Jourdan and Moreau in Germany. But he does not have enough troops or time. He fights a delaying action at the Tagliamento River, but it ends in disaster when Bernadotte surrounds and captures 2,000
So he already came
Austrians,
back.
10 guns and 8 standards. The French pursuit continues, with Massena covering Napoleon's northern flank.
They're going through the mountains, right?
It's Austria, there are
He arrives
mountains
at
everywhere.
Tarvis in time to block the Austrians' retreat. In 3 days' fighting, the French take another 3,000 prisoners. Napoleon's troops outmarch and outfight the Austrians at every turn. But his situation is more precarious than it seems. The other French armies are only just crossing the Rhine, while his own supply lines are now overextended and vulnerable. Rather than withdraw, Napoleon continues to advance, while proposing to Archduke Charles that they open peace negotiations. The Austrians accept.
Oh, okay.
2 days later, both sides agree an armistice, and peace talks begin at Leoben. After 5 years of conflict, Napoleon's dazzling advance into Austria has brought the War of the First Coalition
Single-handedly.
to an end.
I mean, not just alone, but with the soldiers, but the other generals did not do.
So ends Napoleon's first campaign, almost exactly a year after it began, 380 miles away on the shores of the Mediterranean.
I thought it's over, sorry. Yeah, I think it was kind of a thing to brag about. Flex.
I'm
Negotiations
just
at Leoben
taken aback.
become the basis for the Treaty of Campo Formio, signed 5 months later. The Austrian Netherlands, roughly modern Belgium, formally passed to France. The Venetian Republic, invaded and systematically looted by Napoleon's troops, is divided between France and Austria.
It's amazing to see the real results of all the
1200-year
fighting.
history
The big
of the
changes.
Serene Republic of Venice. The famous
1,200
horses of St.
years.
Mark are among its many treasures dispatched to the Louvre in Paris to join its rapidly expanding Italian collection.
Well, I must say, it's good to know that French and English have the same hobby of stealing treasures from other countries.
I was just thinking about it and I had the exact opposite thought, because at least this they won in a fair fight. I mean, they're stealing from the country, but they have wanted their treasures of war rather than stealing them from indigenous people who cannot protect themselves.
Wait.
Yeah, I guess. But
It's like with every hobby, you start with the basics and then you expand.
that's true.
The French part of Venice joins its other Italian client states to form a new Cisalpine Republic. The author of its constitution, Napoleon Bonaparte. It's an illustration of how far the 27-year-old general has come in just a year.
And what have you done in 2025?
Having waged one of the most brilliant military campaigns in history, many would say his best, he now dictates terms to kings and popes, summons new states into being, and nurtures his status as the most celebrated military commander in Europe.
Come closer.
He has achieved all this thanks to formidable intelligence, relentless hard work, and inspiring leadership, which he has used to forge a unique bond of trust with his men. He's had luck, too,
No, you always
along
have to
the
have
way,
luck.
and been ably
Oh, yeah, I remember
served
from the
by a
last
group
episode.
of brilliant officers,
There was a
many
lot
of
of
whom
luck
will be
in
with
that
him
episode.
for years to come. For Napoleon still has many extraordinary things to achieve. His Italian campaign is just the first chapter in one of the most astonishing lives in history.
No,
Did
we
you
went
know?
out with a bang, and I'm ready for more. Are you ready for more?
Yes, I'm ready. They end with a cliffhanger.
Ah, they did. Okay, this was excellent, and you guys were right. I mean, I don't know.
This was the best. For me, this one was the best.
There was more that happened in the last episode. There was more back and forth. Like we said, oh, he lost, oh, he won. Okay, here was like he said with the lag, with the troops that didn't notice them, when they were taken by surprise. There was more action happening. Here, I had the idea the whole time that we're winning. I was not scared
We are winning. You are France.
Well, I am on the side of Napoleon, right? But that we are, the Napoleon is winning. I didn't feel anxious at any time because in the last episode, I almost forgot for a couple of times that this is Napoleon and he's going to win. But what?
It's just funny.
It's gonna be funny if you showed me a perspective from maybe a less favorable perspective from the Second World War, and then I would get so excited. So maybe we have to be cautious about that. Like when you were reading that book. Remember, and then it's hard not to.
Yeah, but I explained it that it's because of the point of view. If you are observing something from certain point of view, it's I think normal for a human to kind of support this point of view.
Yeah, that's all that's happening. I don't support.
What Veronica mentions is when I was reading this book about the Hitler. Mm-hmm. And it was about the whole events from before the war and after the war. And there was this feeling of kind of a rooting, but you were not rooting for Hitler because, first of all, it's Hitler. Second of all, you know what's going to happen. The third, he was fighting against my country. But because you are so much kept in this narrative, you want it to continue. And you don't want it to stop.
You naturally want things to succeed. Yeah.
You see some efforts being built up to achieve some results. You expect those results to happen, and when they don't, you have this kind of feeling of disappointment. Yeah. So there is that. So I wonder how it would look to look at the Napoleon from other perspective. I think I asked this of you. There were not that many answers.
There were quite a lot, mostly saying that it's kind of neutral, that he's considered a very great leader and a great fighter, but that there is not that much emotional connection.
Yeah, exactly. Because, it's older and there were other events later on in history that kind of puts Napoleon into shadow.
Yeah.
But I wonder how it would look, watching some series like this, but from the perspective of Austria.
I had an inkling like that when they mentioned this very young general that was attacked at the very end of the year. I forgot his name.
He was the brother of the emperor.
Yeah, so
Charles, I think.
He was kind of Napoleon's age. And he was also, they said, very good because he won in Germany. Yeah. But it's completely different story than he's just,
you're like,
Yeah, but for him, it must have been devastating, and for all the people there. Yeah, and also, I mean, if you had a movie, I can imagine a movie from the perspective of the people holding Mantua, like how scary that is, and how terrifying for the general as well. Like you're aging. This is kind of the last thing that you're ever going to do in your life, probably of any significance, and you're losing, and there is this young guy who's kind of taking over your country, your way of thinking, everything. It must be.
This is why you say that they are saying that the winners are the ones
who writing
history.
Yeah.
It's like when you learn about Dunkirk, you don't learn about the attacking side, you learn about the defenders.
Yeah.
When you learn about the Normandy, you learn about the attackers and about their perspective. You have a movie about their perspective, not about the perspective of Germans. When you learn about the Napoleon, I mean the Napoleon is different because he lost in the end. Mm-hmm. But you had to be a winner for some time at least.
Yeah.
Unless they are from other race, then I think it's still about your perspective. Because I'm thinking about Genghis Khan.
Okay.
And I never seen a movie from the perspective of Genghis Khan. I think it is because it would
not be relatable enough.
Probably. I mean, the budget would be insane, with all those horses, and you need to shoot every scene in motion because they are traveling nation.
That is true.
So you would mostly watch from perspective of white people.
Yeah.
Mongolians are not the white people, right? They are Asian.
Yeah, but it's a different race. I'm thinking when there's usually a list of a race that you have to choose from, but I forgot what it's called. But it's they are, I think, Asian.
I think the race might become a Mongolian race.
It may be Mongolian, yeah. Because it's a separate race from...
All right, guys. Thank you for watching with us. It was a great series. We are not finished with it. So just quickly let us know if this next episode is something that we should watch. I'm 99% sure that we will watch this. I don't think it is something
we should skip, yeah.
We should skip, yeah. So
then we watch the Nelsons in 3D and then we continue on to Egypt.
Yeah, exactly.
And we also, since we are here on the history video, I just wanted to remind you that we have the movie channel where we post movies every Friday. There is 1917 that you can watch already there, and it's not a historical video, but we will watch 300, the movie.
I mean, we already watched.
We already watched it.
It's gonna be here soon on Friday.
It's gonna be there on Friday. It's epic, like these videos.
Veronica thought it's a historical movie until she didn't.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that, but that's not really what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to ask you, with wrapping this campaign, if there are any historical movies that you would like us to see.
Yes, there is one that I would like to see, and you are still saying to me that it's too long.
Yeah, we want to watch a very interesting film that I think you're going to enjoy, but it's 3 hours long?
2.5.
2.5. So we'll watch it soon when I'm ready, because for now we're still...
It's called The Downfall.
Oh, I thought we were keeping it a secret.
The German movie, about the last days of Hitler.
Yeah, but if you have any other suggestions, this is a very good video.
I wanted to watch this movie for years.
We are going to watch it.
And I wanted to watch it with Veronica, and Veronica was always like, it's 2.5 hours.
We are going to watch it for sure, and not to...
So if you want to be in touch for us to watch this movie with us, then subscribe to the other channel. And I hope that in the next weeks, this movie will be there.
Yeah.
It should be.
And let us know really what other historical
to be honest,
videos you'd like to see.
It should be there, I think, end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for watching with us. Have a great day, and thank you for being with us in this series.
And here at the end of the movie, I'm going to insert a clip because I kept looking to the side at the cut. So I'm going to put it here so you can see as well. Bye.
Bye.